So this is obviously anecdotal, but it goes along with what the concerns would be from an allergy standpoint. So in 2000, there was a California woman. She went into anaphylactic shock after eating corn tacos from a large taco chain. Maybe you can guess what that would be.
Yeah.
So what happened here? So anaphylactic shock. She had exposure to corn her entire life, never an issue. All of a sudden, she eats corn tortillas,
right,
and has anaphylactic shock. So what they found, because she could tie it to this chain, was that there was a pest repelling protein, CRY9C. Okay. It is a bacteria that's naturally found in soil. Okay. And it destroys in insect intestines. Okay. So basically it's a pesticide. It's a natural bacterial pesticide. So what was done, and again, that's some kind of, I think this ties everything together. So what they did was they said, hey, we know this bacteria produces this protein. So we're not going to put this bacteria in there. We're going to put in the DNA, the part that codes for the production of the protein. So they put that in corn. Now, regulations here did a pretty decent job. They banned it in human use, but they allowed it for animal feeding because they found that there were digestive issues, not in animals that consumed it, but in humans that did consume it. But what happened was, this is where kind of human error and nature taking over.
Yeah.
They were planted, they're called Starlink corn.
Okay.
Branded. Starlink corn was planted close enough to human use, unmodified crops. Cross-pollination occurred. So over time, there was enough cross-pollination that, back to the basics of genetics, that then now the corn that was not supposed to be able to produce this protein now can. This was large scale, going to this large taco chain. And so she consumed corn tortillas that were produced with this Starlink corn because of the cross-contamination. So even where regulation essentially works, exactly, there's still just this issue of humans still having to navigate this. And then when nature kind of take over in these types of situations.
I remember hearing about something similar about some GMO crops that were found in a farmer's field. And then the farmer got sued because it was the cross-pollination, and the big company said, you're using our grain. And he was like, no. But because it drifted over on the wind, he ended up getting in trouble.
Wow. Yeah. And then that's
because
exactly
it was copywritten, trademarked, whatever genetic code that they had created.
Wow. I mean, that's similar to what happened here. Hopefully there wasn't any fallout like there was for this poor lady.
But how do they recall? So I'm reading the article about this woman.
Mm-hmm.
It says GMO corn was planted too close to the unmodified crops, and the tortillas that she ate were soon recalled due to the contamination from the GMO product.
Wow.
How do you go about recalling all of those tortilla shells and knowing like which ones?
Yeah.
You just about to just wipe the whole inventory.
I assume they track, this batch from this place has this serial number on it, and this batch from this place. They're able to track it.
Any company that's farming corn at that level is massive. They call their corn Starlink. I mean, that's I think they have large ambitions.
Well, Starlink was the name of Elon Musk's global internet satellite internet
is
thing.
It Starlink? Yeah, it is.
Yeah. So it's corn and internet.
Took it.
It's internet corn
and internet. So again, that was anecdotal, but it does really tie in from the conceptual process of what these GMOs are meant to do and what potentially the issue can be. So we're not seeing that though in a large scale in the sense of there weren't thousands and thousands of people. So this, what we'll get to and what ultimately I think comes of this is if you want to label GMOs as bad broadly, that's your prerogative, but these are all individually produced items.
Yeah.
This was a very, very specific corn made to do something very specific. So you can't necessarily say, well, look, this protein did this. So then automatically GMOs then cause that. So again, just trying to keep it in the large scale of what these things are, but then pin down everyday life, what can occur, both in the good and in the not plausible or not likely to occur.
Right. Okay.
Because there's kind of the other way too. There are scientists that are working on, and it's kind of in its early stages, but just like the process of basically getting, a organism to produce a protein that's not native to it, that can be allergenic. Like in this case, the opposite can occur. If they can kind of delete or get rid of or stop expression of known allergenic proteins in food, it can be a longer term solution to some of the large scale allergies that we have. So it can work backwards.
Like allergy safe peanuts.
Exactly.
Wow. Okay,
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Mm-hmm. So long term, it is posited that could be a potential solution.
Interesting.
So again, regarding some of the issues, there was this was like the early 2010s that got a lot of attention. There was a study done that they gave corn, 3 different varieties of GMO corn, to rats for 90 days. And they found that there was kidney and liver impairment. Okay, so I mean, the study is what it is, though. There are some potential flaws. The amount of corn that these rats were given. Rats aren't typically just eating
Dead
tons
corn.
of corn.
Yeah.
Pesticide residue, like we talked about, GMOs are much more likely to have that higher pesticide residue. So you're putting a lot of burden on a rat in that case. And these similar studies were done in humans, and they could not, fortunately, duplicate those results. So again, this is another situation with these where there's smoke, but it's hard to definitely attribute, now GMOs are causing liver failure.
Got it.
Okay, so that's, again, that was linked. This study was linked in multiple kind of more broad articles I was looking at. So at least did want to mention it. It is significant, does have value. It is leading to more research, but it's far from conclusive that that's going to be, carry over into humans.